This is a sports catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather Holder. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another sports catastrophe on this date. And on this day, June the 29th, 1986, the World Cup finally ends as Diego Maradona and his Argentine merry men won the title in Mexico. Colombia almost had the World Cup in 1986, but because of economic reasons, they couldn't do it. So Mexico took care of it and became the first country to have multiple World Cups hosting. So it was a great matchup. Argentina beating West Germany on this day in 1986, 3-2 in the final, whereas Canada, Denmark, and Iraq made their first appearances at the World Cup. The 1986 World Cup would actually change the World Cup competition format. There were a couple of big matches. Number one was that the knockout stages would have 16 teams instead of the top two teams from each group making it 12 and putting 4 3-team groups or 3 4-team groups, whatever you want to call it. But no, it was the top two teams from each group and the 4 best third place teams out of 6 would move on to the Sweet 16. And of course, the big move from 1982 was the final pair of matches in each group would start at the same time. So basically that meant that, for example, Canada took on, I think it was the Soviets at the same time as France took on Hungary. So they both played at the same time. So you didn't have inside knowledge of what score you needed to get to the knockout stages and all that. Thanks a lot, shame of Gihon 1982, for the disgrace of Gihon. Canada actually submitted a bid. So did the US, but Mexico did it. So anyway, yeah, Mexico and Canada. Mexico got the World Cup instead of Canada or the United States even. Mexico almost botched it because in 1985 a severe earthquake in Mexico City happened. But the stadiums were not affected. Thank goodness for that. So anyway, there was massive qualification and all that. Canada, Denmark, and Iraq all qualified. Canada beat Honduras. They needed to tie Honduras. But that famous last game in St. John's, Newfoundland was huge. Because it actually ruined things for Honduran fans who wanted to come to Canada, because Canada being the vast country it is. Some Honduran fans actually went to St. John, but that's in New Brunswick, a different province than Newfoundland and St. John's. So they had to watch the game on TV. Iraq had to play on neutral ground because of their war with Iran at the time. South Korea ended a 32-year drought of making the World Cup. The last time they made the World Cup was 1954, believe it or not. Paraguay had finally broken their jinx. The last time Paraguay was in was 1958. Portugal was in for the first time in 20 years. The last time they got in, they got to the semifinals, but lost to England. And Bulgaria and Uruguay ended a 12-year drought themselves. This was the last time Hungary and Northern Ireland have been to the World Cup as of this year. And the only time Iraq has qualified. Thank God for that. So 24 teams qualified for Mexico. So it was up to everyone. In Group A, Argentina and Italy were the top of the walk, whereas Bulgaria and South Korea both didn't win. They played ties. But fortunately, Bulgaria's 2 ties actually were enough, including their shocking tie with Italy. Their ties were good enough for them to get in as one of the third place teams. Group B saw the host Mexicans go 2-0-1 in a group that included Paraguay, Belgium, and Iraq. Iraq at least scored a goal. They scored against Belgium. Belgium's 1-1-1 mark was good enough for third place and a spot in the knockout stages. Paraguay took second with 4 points. They didn't lose again. Group C was the group Canada was in with the Soviets, French, and Hungarians. The Soviets and French both put up 5 points, 2 wins, and a tie. Well, they obviously tied each other, whereas they beat everyone else. Canada did pretty well for themselves. Despite the fact Canada didn't score a goal in the 86 tournament, they only gave up 5. They gave up fewer goals than Hungary. And Hungary was in the same group because Hungary got their butts handed to them 6-0 by the Soviets, whereas Canada only lost 1-0 to the French. But needless to say, France missed a lot of golden opportunities to score in Canada. Canada had a few chances against Hungary in the second game of the group stage, but couldn't put them in. If it wasn't for that, Canada probably would have taken a third place spot. Hungary did win over Canada, obviously, but their -7 goal differential was key to them missing out in one of those third place spots. Of course, Canada wouldn't come back till 2022. Brazil and Spain were the 2 teams in Group D. Northern Ireland and Algeria could only manage a tie, so Northern Ireland couldn't do the heroics they did in 1982. They just couldn't afford it. And Spain got their own back, revenge for 82, winning 2-1 over Northern Ireland. Group E saw Denmark and Germany be the top 2 teams. Denmark did not lose a game. They gave up only 1 goal. It's hard to believe that Denmark beat West Germany. They went 2-0. Did Germany kind of tank? I don't know. But the worst part is that, yes, this was the group that Scotland was in, and Scotland was hoping to make it. Unfortunately, Uruguay had a plan during their last group match against Scotland, is basically kick their feet at Scotland's star players. Like Gordon Strachan was kicked by Jose Batista, Batista, and was sent off in the first minute. That should have been enough power for Scotland to get through, but Scotland, alas, tied Uruguay 0-0, and Uruguay somehow on goal differential got into the World Cup second stage, and Scotland, with their one puny tie, did not do it. Well, losing to Denmark was horrible. I mean, you lose to Germany, basically, yeah. And yes, I do have a tendency to call West Germany Germany because East Germany only made 1 World Cup in '74. So anyway, yeah, Scotland missed out, and of course, Scotland has not made the World Cup second stage or the knockout stages ever in their history. I'll link the video that I did down below. Anyway, Group F saw Morocco, England, Poland, and Portugal. If I was alive, well, I was kind of alive. I was 14 months old. If this was 2016, this would be huge because Poland is the kind of ancestral land of my sister-in-law, Marlene. Well, her parents came from Poland. And Portugal, you know, I have a lot of Portuguese friends, including the Kappas and the Loves. But the fact of the matter is, it would have been a bloodbath with the 3 friend groups. It would have been worse for me as England lost 1-0 to Portugal. I would have been laughed at by at least the Kappas. Poland beat Portugal, so Marlene would have her own laugh at Marcia Love. And, well, England crushed Poland 3-0, so I would be laughing at Marlene. So that would be funny. It's like the Portuguese fans would be laughing at the English fans, but then the Polish fans would be laughing at the Portuguese fans, and then the English fans laugh at the Polish fans. Kind of funny. Anyway, Morocco got 4 points to win the group. They silently did that. England and Poland both got 3 points, which got them, well, England technically took second on goal differential, and Poland did qualify for the knockout stage with their 3 points for third place. So Belgium, Poland, Bulgaria, Uruguay all qualified as third place teams. In the round of 16, Mexico beat Bulgaria 2-0, which was huge for the home country, including Negrete's bicycle kick goal. Belgium and the Soviets played a gigantic battle. It was 4-3 at the end of extra time. It was tied 2-2. Igor Belanov put up a hat-trick for the Soviets, but Skifo, Kuhlmans, Demo, and Kleisen all scored one of the best round of 16 games ever. Brazil crushed Poland in Divine Powder 4-0. Argentina narrowly beat Uruguay 1-0 on a goal by Pasculi. France beat Italy, the defending champions, 2-0. Goes by Platini and Stoipra. West Germany scored 1 late goal against Morocco. England beat up on Paraguay 3-0. Lineker with a pair of Beardsley scored. Spain crushing Denmark in Divine Powder 5-1 thanks to a hat-trick by Buttaguerrero. 4-goal by Buttaguerrero. The quarterfinals started June 21st. And the 2 quarterfinals on June 21st were in extra time. Brazil and France had to go to penalties. Caracha scored for Brazil, Platini for France. On penalties, Brazil shockingly missed 2 of them, as Julio Cesar missed his penalty, and France got to the semifinals. Germany and Mexico had to go to extra time through penalties, although Mexico, I think, was trying to do that. But Mexico's plan failed. Even though Negrete scored his penalty, the next 2 were saved, and Germany went 4 for 4 of Lebarski and Neal. And of course, June 22nd was that famous hand of God job by Maradona. So Maradona's hand of God on the 22nd. So that's huge. Forgot about that game. Anyway, Argentina won 2-1. Maradona with a pair of goals. His second goal was much better than his first goal, because the second goal was not the hand of God. It was the weaving through the pathetic English defense. Lineker did score for England late, but then he had a second chance and he missed a big header. Spain and Belgium went to penalties, making it the third quarterfinal to go to penalties. Belgium went 5 for 5 on their penalties. Spain missed 1 penalty. So Belgium would face Argentina, whereas Germany would face France in the semifinals. And on June 25th, Germany took on France in Guadalajara and beat them 2-0. Brema and Voller scoring. So France were out. And in Mexico City at Azteca, Argentina, with a pair of goals by Maradona, beat Belgium. In the third place playoff, France beat Belgium in a battle of the neighbors at Puebla. It was huge. I mean, France and Belgium are major rivals and all that. It was 2-2 after regulation as Ferry and Papin scored for France. Belgium had Koulemans and Claesson score. But Giagini and Amarals scored and the French took third. And of course the final happened. Argentina got off to a fast start, a 2-0 start at Azteca. As Jose Luis Brown, now you've been thinking, hang on, that doesn't sound Argentine. But yeah, he was born to an Argentinian father and an English mother. So he scored, and then Valdano scored on a pass from Maradona to make it 2-0. However, West Germany wouldn't be denied as Karl-Heinz Rummenigge and Rudi Völler scored within a 6-minute period to tie it at 2. However, in the 83rd minute, a nice feed to Jorge Burruchaga came in and Argentina scored to win the game 3-2. So Argentina are your 1986 World Cup champions. Diego Maradona was named player of the tournament. Gary Lineker won the Golden Boot for most goals. Best young player was Enzo Schifo of Belgium, and the third player went to Brazil. Retrospectively, Canada was actually ranked worse than Iraq, which is like pathetic. But anyway, yeah. It was good to see it. Argentina went 6-0-1 in their tournament. And just basically crushed everyone in fine powder. So Maradona got his World Cup. And English fans keep hating on Argentines throughout the years. Who can blame them? It would be not until 1998 that England and Argentina would meet in another World Cup match. And that one was controversial for other reasons. Anyway, I'm jumped I'm going to do.